7 months pregnant, definitely discomfort, back pain. You're hungry constantly.
Oh, big. She's feeling big.
I think she's probably feeling a little heavy, getting a little weary and tired, maybe, especially since in their culture they would have done a lot of physical activity, a lot of physical demands on them for working and taking care of their home and their husbands and families.
I would think increasingly excited by this point because she's feeling more movement and the reality, the child within, was becoming more and more evident.
The baby's getting bigger. She's getting uncomfortable. Fortunately, they didn't have a lot of tight clothing back then, so they didn't have to worry about that. But, your body's changed. You don't sleep well when your stomach's big. You feel like you got a basketball. You're carrying around a basketball in your belly. You're carrying extra weight, because the baby has weight.
She may have felt a little nervous about the birth itself. Most women probably are, thinking about the labor and delivery and how that's going to affect them.
This is when you start getting uncomfortable, and maybe not. It's highly uncomfortable, but this is where it begins. This is where sleep gets disturbed. This is where, you're in the home stretch, really.
You definitely start feeling a sense of urgency.
Whether they're going to be in pain or, whether the baby's going to come quickly or if it's going to be okay when it arrives. I don't think Mary had some of those same fears of like how the baby was going to be when he arrived, because she knew he was God's son and God had this ordained plan. But the labor and delivery could have been a little bit of a concern for her.
Having walked through all that she's walked through at this point, I think just the excitement of knowing that a child is coming. That's how I think she would feel.
I don't know how far along she was when she and Joseph needed to start their journey. So if she knew about the journey, that could have been a concern to her as well.
I really liked it at 7 months. I felt really connected with my daughter, and I enjoyed that stage. You definitely feel like your body's on a mission and that you're really serving a purpose.
She didn't have to choose a name. She didn't have to wonder if it was a boy or a girl. Some of those kind of things. But she didn't have to. Well, she wouldn't have taken time to focus on those things because God had already given her those answers. And she was able, I think, to really give a lot of praise to God and anticipate this beautiful gift that he was giving her, and just thanking him for the opportunity. It was going to be hard, but man, was it going to be special.
She's talking to her baby. I'm sure she's singing to her baby. I'm sure she's doing all the things that mothers do today. I'm sure Joseph is too. I'm sure he is captivated by this point and eager as she is to see, what this, and I imagine he's feeling a little bit of stress because he's going to be the man to rear this child, this Messiah. That's a big deal.
Oh, I think she talked to him, and I think she prayed over him, and I think she put her hands on her belly to love on him and to feel his movements. And I think she was probably enthralled and excited. And I think, well, we know that she praised God. We see that in the Bible as well. And I believe that she was probably in that frame of mind.
She's begun to deeply bond emotionally with her child and become more and more protective of the life within her.
That baby is everything. There is an undefined closeness that you feel with your baby in the womb, and that baby's acknowledging everything that you're doing, your voice, your movements. They're reacting to it all.
Physically, she felt big. Emotionally, she probably was getting, very, very attached and just delighted and, excited.
When I was a teacher and I would start speaking with my students, my daughter in the womb, she would just start kicking, stop talking. It was calm, but every time my voice was going, she was kick, and it was just like that little bit of I knew she was there. She was listening to me, and that you can't describe how awesome that is to feel so close to your child.
She knew from the angel's visit that this was a specifically special miracle that everybody else was not experiencing.
The things that happen between the mother and child during that time, just a real special bond, I believe that is created, that she had with her baby.
Well, during the third trimester, your body's still growing and making a lot of changes as that baby's growing. And there's a lot of concerns for women. You know, they do get nervous about the labor and the delivery. They do get to wondering about whether they're going to be able to breastfeed or not. They are concerned about maybe who's going to be at the birth with them if they don't have somebody solid in their lives.
Well, the third trimester becomes more increasingly stressful for her as a reality of what she may be going through in the birth process itself. And that begins to sink in, as well as the reality of being responsible for this new person who will be totally dependent on her.
This is actually the most important time when the women start coming back. So when they come and visit us, find out they're pregnant, we're providing all the information and emotional support. But now when they come back in the third trimester, now this is preparation time. Now we need items, we need bassinets and the baby clothes, and you start preparing for that trip to the hospital. And you need all the essentials for the birth. So that's really important. And when you have all of that prepared, it starts to ease the mother emotionally as well and mentally, so that they know they can bring their child home to a comfortable and safe space.
They may have fears of how to care for the baby after, you know, and a lot of times up in that third trimester, we are thinking that way.
I mean, the baby's coming, because I know most pregnancy centers help the mother up to, I think, 3 years, maybe more after.
I have seen it, though. I've gotten to work in some OB-GYN offices before pregnancy centers. And as they get into the final months, they're just ready for the child to come physically. And I think that just happens. The Lord designed it that way. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, as we were talking earlier, how that can be stressful at the beginning, then it becomes an excitement and ready for the baby to come. I've seen so many in their last weeks. I'm just so ready for this baby to come. I've heard that many times.
I mean, that child's getting ready to enter this world. And by now, the pregnancy centers are invested in her if they've walked with her from the beginning. And they're just as excited as an aunt or a sister would be. And so they're starting to really form a tight little community. And they're, you know, the mother's gaining confidence. She's growing. And so, you know, the pregnancy center must continue with her, you know, and continue helping her through this stage of pregnancy, what to expect, what birth is going to be like, those kinds of things. So I think the pregnancy center has a vital role in this time of her life.
They're getting tired easily, and some of them are working, and if they're going to work every day and they're exhausted, and maybe some have children at home even, then that's an exhausting time, and they're probably just thinking about all that's going to come afterwards, along with the excitement. But I think they need a lot of encouragement, especially when our bodies get fat with pregnancy. We tend to feel like we look ugly or whatever, and I think they need encouragement, just knowing that they're beautiful because that baby inside of them is growing and doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So I think we can encourage them, and I think they need a lot of that at that stage.